simple and it's not too complex. It's just a cut through a die wall, which I'm sure if you're using microvellum, you're probably all frustrated with the way microvellum does that, depending on how complex it is.
Yep.
And we have what we call Object Designer. So with Object Designer, I can create a new Object Designer article, and then I just have to specify what does the side view look like and what does the top view look like, and I can create my parts from those two views. So this is one that I use with my students. I'm going to say I want to make these my initial entities, and I only do this simply because it gives me the option to freeze and thaw them and get them out of my way. Just going to go in here and create some side view segments. I'll do just a few pieces so you see the process. Those side view segments, I'm just picking my points where I want my segments to be. I'm going to say that these three pieces and this little ledge right here are all some kind of a stone something. We'll say granite. So as I draw these segments, I'll go ahead and freeze the original entities. They are assigned what we call a part definition. It uses one called standard always. The part definition defines what's the material for the part, what happens to the edges of the part, and is there any specific machining that goes with that part. And I have the ability to just accept that part definition. Hopefully you can see it over here on the left.
Yes, we can see it.
Or I can pick from a drop. There's always a drop down, and in WoodCAD CAM drop downs are just recently used items. I can pick something I've recently used. I can change the material, same thing, pick something I've recently used. Or I can go and create another part definition as needed. In this case, I don't have anything recently used. I don't want to create a new part definition. I just want to go make another material. So I can hit a ellipsis here. It takes me to all my materials. I'm going to pick a 19 millimeter granite. That's what I want to use. And now all four of those segments, and you see I intentionally didn't pick this one, are now this 19 millimeter granite. The one I didn't pick is still the original standard. Now I can get that granite out of my drop down because it's recently used. And then you just go on and create all your parts. I'm going to turn my other things back on. If I have a part such as down here that are not a 3/4 material like the others were, they're a 1/2 inch material. So you see when I draw the segment, my segment's actually bigger than what my original is. So I say to myself, okay, this is actually a different material. Again, I can create a part definition. In this case, I just want it to be 1/2 inch MDF. I go pick 1/2 inch, and you see that adjusts my segments to match whatever that is. And we just go through and create part after part after part. Don't know if this guy is closed. Let me see if he is. I'm not going to create all the parts for you here. Just a quick demo.
That one's probably the one.
Oh, okay, he's closed. So I'm going to call this stud. I'm going to say that this stud is a side view contour. Contour in WoodCAD CAM is a closed polyline. So that's my stud that I want. And that gives me a few parts I can show you. I'll freeze out, so I'll have a top, this little ledge, a couple of parts here, and my stud.
Okay.
And I want them to follow a particular path. Now, I can create a polyline for that path. I want it to go, 60 inches here. Whatever shape that's going to be, we'll do an arc. Okay, so that's what my reception desk is going to look like. We'll use this polyline path for our parts. And then I can decide I want to do some top view segments for my studs. Where do I want my studs to be? And I will just go up here and draw a length, doesn't really matter. And I'm going to move it 3/4 away from there. So I'm just using AutoCAD to move it wherever I want it to be. I'm going to do an array, or I can copy them. I want an array along this path, and I want them to be, whatever, 14 inches apart. And of course I can take and move whatever I need to. I can copy. I want to copy another one, and right there. And I want to get rid of this guy. Just select him and delete him out. Whatever I need for my studs. And then this is basically, I'm going to build this as my wall. So once I've made all those decisions, I say, okay, I want to do parts from 2 views. I want these segments to follow this polyline path, which I didn't define. Program says, hey, you chose some side views and you got this other undefined thing. Should we use this as a top view? Yeah. Says, okay, now how do you want to apply that path then to all of your parts? In other words, where does this path hit on this section? And I can either select a point I've got, or I can insert a new one. I'm just going to say insert new, and I want to line it up like right here. Close enough. And it's going to now go through and create all of my parts and follow that path. And if I wasn't running on this meeting, it would be a lot quicker. All right, we got it. So there I have my parts following along this path. And of course, I didn't do all of the parts, but hopefully you get the idea. I can see that, hey, I've got this all on the wrong side. That's not where I want it. I really should have drawn my polyline the other way. Wow, now what do I do? Well, we've got a edit path direction. Probably have to get it from a isometric here. I'm going to edit my path direction here. Once I've reversed that, I can now just come back and say, hey, refresh my construction, please. It rereads the new path direction and redraws all my parts the correct direction. And I know somebody's thinking, well, what if I need to change the size of it? Can I just stretch my polyline? I'm glad you asked that question. So yeah, I now want this leg to be that long, and I want this leg to shorten up a little bit. I'll see if I can just shorten it up here a bit for you. So I can see that my parts don't match that anymore. But yeah, once again, I just select it and say, okay, let's just refresh our construction. Goes through, rereads the data, and redraws all the parts.
What about the break? You've got it where the break is between the two line segments. You've got them joined together at an angle. Can you show how that doesn't have to be that way?
Yep, I'll adjust that. Let me put my studs in real quick.
Okay.
I've actually decided I don't need these two guys anymore because we've changed it, so I'm just going to delete them. And you'll notice I'm not using AutoCAD. Similar to Microvellum, this information is stored in a database, so I want to make sure I get it out of the database as well as the drawing, right? You guys are probably familiar with that technique. Okay, so now I want to do all my studs. I'm going to go ahead and freeze out my parts so I can see them a little easier. Okay, I want to do part from 2 views. There's that. Yeah. Now could I copy some more and put them on the end? Sure.
So Larry, I noticed you picked the polyline also. That's okay to do?
I did not pick the polyline. I just windowed around. I wouldn't want to pick the polyline with this right here. And this is a pretty important thing I should teach my students is when you're doing this, either the top view or the side view must be a segment because the segment controls what the material is. If I'm using a polyline like this stud and this polyline, I don't have anything to tell it what the material is, so it can't really create any parts. Okay, so there pretty quickly we've created everything we want. One of the nice features about WoodCAD CAM is I can take any part, select it, see if I can just get one part here, region, and I can right click on that part and say, hey, I want to turn 3D workings on. What this does for us, this is one of the hot features I really like, is I can select an, let me see if I can get this one edge. All right, you're in my way. Hide this guy. All right, so I can select this edge. Hopefully everybody can see I get 4 grips on here. Do we all see that?
Yeah.
So I get the ones in the corners. If I grab the ones in the corners, I can just change the edge and I can change the angle of that part.
Okay.
Any direction I want to. See, I'm just moving that. There's an arrow here. If I grab the arrow, now I am, and it's going to be hard to see on this angle, but I'm actually beveling the edge.
Oh.
I'll change my view and see if we can see that a little bit better. Maybe coming from this way. Yeah, I can't get it from there. It's right on a 45. Back here. Let's try this one. Still can't see it. Yeah, I'll do it on a different edge, but that's beveling the edge like if I want to put a 45 angle on the edge to show it. Okay. Then we have a lollipop. A lollipop would allow us to actually change the size of the edge. All right, in this case here, I want to see if I can get this guy. Let me figure out how far to move him so I can square him up. 14 inches, that's what it was. So I'm going to grab this edge and move it 14 inches to square that part up. And I can turn my 3D workings off. Now I would show my other elements. This guy here, 3D workings on. Of course, I could have thought ahead about how I wanted to do this and not had to worry about doing it this way, but since we did it this way, we'll make the change. And butt the edge up that way.
Okay.
Everybody saw that?
Yep.
And let's see if we can grab this guy again. 3D workings on. Get you out of my way. There we go. All right, now I'm going to grab this little angle so we can see here that I'm putting a bevel on that edge now, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then the lollipop will let you change the size of it if I wanted to extend this part out, 3 inches. Could do that.
Okay.
So that's really handy with 3D workings, and that'll work on any part, whether it's a cabinet, a die wall, a countertop, whatever the heck it is. In 3D, you can make any changes like that.
Larry,
So
can you put
things I like.
on the expansion or the change of it? Can you put a polyline like a curve or something and show them how it expands out to that?
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. So let's say now I want to, I've decided, my architect Roger here has decided that this part needs to be different. He didn't tell me to begin with, so so I need to put an arc on this part right here. So I can just go here and draw a polyline. That's really what Roger has decided he wants this to look like. It doesn't really matter so much if I, actually in the same plane. I'll try to go to a side view here. I'm actually a little bit below that part. I could be, let me change my UCS here to view. I'll move this guy down. I could be right there. Just as long as I'm in the right plane. So we can work with either parts, or we can work with edges. This is going to be edge 1, and I want to extend that to a polyline. So I just pick my polyline, and you see it extends out to match that polyline.
Okay.
And there we go. So you can also change parts like that. There's a lot of things that you can do right in AutoCAD for custom one-of-a-kind stuff.
Now, is that section drawn by you? What if that section was from somebody else?
It doesn't matter. This is actually from somebody else. This was a customer had given me this drawing. I just copied and pasted it in here. So I did not draw this.
Okay.
Okay.
I do want to show you one more thing. You can also, I'm going to freeze my initial entities. Let's say that I wanted this part right here to be some funky shape to begin with. So I can still use this and make it part of the same object designer. So let's say that I had a polyline. I'm going to turn this F8 off, and it's some weird shape, something really off the wall. Okay, and I want it to be that material. So obviously this width of this is not the same as that, but it doesn't really matter. The main thing is that this has my material assigned to it. That's why that segment is important. So I would come back here and say, hey, apart from 2 views, I want this to be this. It says, hey, this is undefined. Do you want to use it as a top view? It knows I picked a side view and I picked something else that's not defined, and I have to have a top and a side, so it's basically understands, hey, we want to make this a top view. So I say yes, and I get a part that shape, ready and willing to go. Obviously, using this object designer, it's very important that you think ahead a little bit and kind of engineer before you get started. You can come back and make changes on the fly, but for me, I like to think about it and know what I'm doing ahead of time just to save time. But you can put together something very complex in a pretty short period of time. One more cool thing that I would like to show you. This time I'm just going to use a cabinet. I don't do this a lot, but I have seen people that like to use it. So if I come in here and I select this cabinet, this is called no, it's not here. It is here. I did say I didn't use this very often, right? Free construction. Where's the modify the polyline? You know what I'm looking for, Roger?
The contour?
Yeah, where I want to modify the contour.
It's up.
Here it is, modify article contour. So I hit that, and you see that my cabinet kind of goes away, and now I can choose the grips here, and I can basically change the shape of my cabinet and get some funky looking cabinet like that just by changing the contour of a standard library item.
Nice.
Okay.
No formulas, no variables. It just does
Yeah,
it.
of course, you can also create articles that way. So let's say that I knew ahead of time I wanted to, I don't know, I'm going to build a cabinet that fits underneath my staircase in an alcove, and I want it to match the staircase angle. That would be kind of like the front view of it, and I want to make a bookcase that looks like that. So I can just say, hey, I want to make an article. An article in WoodCAD CAM would be comparable to a product or whatever you would call it in Microvellum. We'll call this this is Larry Stairs. And I can decide how I want to apply this polyline shape. Do I want to apply it to the plan view of my article? So is this the plan view? Is it the front view, or is it the side view? In this case, it's the front view. This goes under my stairs. And then I just pick that. Okay, so that's going to be the shape, as you can see. This is my shadow box of my empty cabinet. And I can just say, based on rules, and we have standard defaults that we can set up for tops, bottoms, left, right, front, back, and I can just say put a top on it. My default is rails. I can go pick, a full depth one if I have one in my list. Bottom, sides, put a back on it, and just basically build whatever I want. I want to put some vertical partitions in here. We use linear divisions, so I can say 1 to 1 to 1 and get 2 partitions. It's a ratio. Or I can do specific dimensions. Hey, I want this space to be 6 inches to 1 to 1. I can mix and match inches and metric. I want this to be 6 inches, 1 in the middle, and 305 millimeters on the end. Just have lots of freedom with how you put that together. And then that gives me 3 new areas here. Each of these areas has the ability for more parts, top, bottom, left, right, front, back, more partitions. Hey, I'm going to put a couple of fixed shelves in this one. Just, we'll say 12 inches to 24 inches to 1. And that's what I want. Or I can go deeper. Now that I've split this up, I now have 3 completely separate areas here where I can add more parts, and I can just keep building and building and building. I'm just going to draw this real quick for you. I'm actually running out of time here, Roger. I've got another meeting I'm going to have to get to.
Okay.
And I can also control how parts go together based on what we call connection situations. This is showing it doweled. It could be cammed. It could be dadoed. It could be whatever I want it to be. You see, I'm showing these butted together, but I can also control how they get put together with what we call trims. So I can go to my side and I say, hey, my next, I actually want that to be short. Notice how that part popped up. And I want my bottom on the previous to be long. So now my end is sitting on my bottom. Over here I want to miter fold this. So I'm going to say on the next one I want to put a miter. And on the right side, let's miter that. So you can just on the fly control how things go together. So there you see that's sitting on top and that's mitered together. Just there's all kinds of things that you can do with it.
All right, could you throw a drawer in that bottom bay, put a drawer in it, and then show us how to designate drawer construction and drawer guides. Let's start out with a Zargan slide in that bottom drawer, the bottom area.
All right, so first of all, if I want to put a drawer in here, that's just a tab. I just come in here and say one, hey, I want a drawer in there. This is going to give me my default drawer type. This has a $sign in front of it. That means it's a variable, so I have that set up with variables.
Okay.
So we can set up, we've got a bunch of variables set up for all kinds of things, materials, construction, drawers, and of course you can build your own variables, whatever you want. We have different constructions pre-set up. We also have online, you can go download like olive blooms, olive headage, olive grass. Roger, you probably know better than I do all the different manufacturers that are there. But basically whatever you're setting up, over here, this is where we set up, and I want you to watch this little graphic. So each of these four will turn blue depending on what we're talking about. So this one would be this distance, this one is this distance, this one is this distance, and this one is the bottom distance. How do I want to put that together? I can say I want to have fixed drawer depths or maximum. I can do fixed heights or maximums. Just, you know, whatever you want. We can specify what the front is, what kind of pull, are we doing locks. The elements, I can determine how they go together. Here's my oversizes, top and bottom, and this is a graphic, so right now this is red. I'm working on the front. If I just click on this, I'm now working on the right side. I'm working on the back. I'm working on the left. And then over here, how do I want it to go together? I've got a dowel drawer, but I can hit an ellipsis and go pick from a whole list of different construction methods that I may have set up, or I can set up new ones on the fly. As far as what are we doing for the drawer slides, that's called a connection situation. Again, we can go pick ones that we already have set up, or we can set up new ones. I really don't have time to go through and show you how to set up a new one, but it is fairly simple. It's a connection situation. What do I want to use? And it all, you know, everything works off of linear divisions. Can I do conditional statements? I know you guys work with microvellum, so you have a lot of if statements. Yes, we can do if statements in a linear division. We call that a descriptor file. Real quick, I'll come back here. I had put in this linear division of 6 inches to 1 to 305, but I can do a descriptor file, which is just a TXT file. And it can have ifs using inches or millimeters, however you want to. So yeah.
So what kind of drawer guide is in that drawer? Oh, you're out of it.
This is probably a balloon glide that's I've got set up for the standard on here. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
But we've got variables for pulls created, variables for the slides. You can have different drawer box. You can have as many different drawer box setups as you want. And like I said, we do have a download, which we can go download. Most of the major manufacturers already preset for you. Let's say you're using headage and your database doesn't have headage. You can just go download all of headage drawer slides, and it sets the boxes up for you automatically.
Now, what if you wanted to put dividers in that drawer box? Is that as simple as the cabinet? What if, you know, if that's a 3/4 millimeter drawer box, could you put dividers in that drawer box now?
Yeah, we certainly can. What I would do in a case like that, where we're talking about putting things in a drawer box, is I would make my drawer box a subassembly and save it as an article. Didn't really get a chance to show you everything we can do. Obviously, there's quite a bit. But yeah, I would save it as a subassembly. Then I can create what we call an article zone. This won't look very good, but I'll do it right here. So let's say in this area right here, I want to actually put something from my library into that area. So I would say, hey, I want this to be an article zone, and then I can go and pick anything out of my library that I want. Hey, I want to stick a one-door base cabinet in that space, whatever my default is. So in the case of what you're talking about with a drawer box with dividers, I would save that as an article and then You see, I
Oh,
stuck
then-
that one door. I stuck a one-door base in that space.
Okay.
But anything that you save to your library can be put into what we call an article zone. We could create an article. I got about 2 minutes. I can do this in 2 minutes. So let's say I wanted to create a big article, 36. It's 140 inches and it's 16 inches deep. And I want to split this so I can put 4 cabinets in it or any other articles I have in my library. Partitions, Larry. There we go. That's 5. Let's make it 4. All right. And so in here I want to go and put, no, I don't want a shelf. I want article, make it a 2-door upper cabinet, upper 2-door. Same in here, article zone. It's now in my drop down. It's recently used. Another one here. And oh, this one here, I need a 6-inch space at the bottom, so I need to split it first. 6 inches to 1, giving me 2 zones. Now put an article in there. On and on and on, whatever. So now I've got a big area with 4. They're all the same cabinets, but you'll get the idea.
Yeah.
Really handy for that case where you have the architect gives you a wall dimension and wants this cabinet equal. So that works good.
Yep.
That's all I got time for, guys. Raj, thanks for having me. Send me another email if you've got more questions, and I'll be happy to answer it.
Okay, Larry, I'm going to
appreciate
stay
your
on,
time,
guys, to field any other
Okay.
questions that you have.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got slammed. I got some more training I got to do.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks, Larry. Okay, well, that's interesting. You can see how Larry knows he knows where your head's at with microvellums. Makes it a little bit easier to make the transition. Probably 90% of the time he spends is with people that have already had microvellum that are switching over.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty, and I don't know if he's still, occasionally he'll do some training for microvellum people, but that doesn't happen very often anymore.
Okay. Do we have any other questions or comments or? Okay. Do you have anything, Roger, that you wanted to?
Yeah, it's an exciting opportunity. Somebody, there was another question. Dan, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, Dan had asked if there was a place that we could go see this being used. I could talk to some guys. I think it's a 2 or 3 hour drive away. Basically, the Milwaukee area, to the best of my knowledge, is virgin. But there's some very successful users in the Minneapolis area that are in Wisconsin, and you guys know Wright Architectural. They went through hell trying to get theirs running because we weren't involved in the sale and the initial training, but they're up and running and pretty happy right now. I don't know, Dan, have you had a chance to talk to them about this?
Yeah. Yeah, I have. I wouldn't say they're happy, but they're using it. So I talked to them yesterday again. Yeah. They gave me the name of Legier out in New York as well, who's using it. So.
Yeah, Legier is, they were a microvellum user, whereas Wright was not. And what Legier basically did is they ended up using it for exactly what they use microvellum for. So it was a great sale, but it wasn't. I'm not satisfied with where they're at. They don't capitalize on they're using it as a case goods generator, as opposed to, it's really, as you can tell, it's really a powerful program for doing one of a kinds. So,
Right. We just want to make sure it's really good on the case work side as well.
Yeah, it will. And by the way, there's a 90-day money-back warranty on this software. So being able to go visit other people that aren't like you guys, you know, yeah, the way you can really find out is put the rubber on the road. And you know, I'm feeling pretty comfortable that this is going to work. But in case it doesn't, in 90 days, you can send her back. You do lose the time and the training money, but I just don't see that happening.
Give us a range, Roger. If we pulled the trigger on this, when would you expect to be able to walk away and say this was a successful installation? From what, 90 to 120 days, or is it going to be 6 months to a year, or what? Just a range. We won't hold you to it, but just to give us some sort of an idea. You know us well enough.
Okay, well, let's define what the definition of success is first. In my opinion, the definition of success is we got all the case goods running the way you want. We got the machine tools hooked up. We've established the cam. There's actually in training, I kind of put this in black and white in the middle of the night to Dan. You have to set up, it's a little bit different than microbiome because we look at the cam portion of this in much more detail. So that cam part has to be set up. Then you get the post done. To have you guys trained up on the case goods, have you trained up on the article designer and the object designer, and have everything linked, making sawdust and all of that. My goal would be 90 days. I would like to even have it done earlier because I want to use you guys as a reference point for the rest of Wisconsin. And I mean, for that area of Wisconsin, everybody knows you guys, and give Jeff and I a chance to go play some golf too. So the bottom line is
that would be a success.
Yeah, you know, that would be my goal. You know, it might take longer than 90 days.
No, that's what I'm saying. You know, you know, 80 to 100 days would be a good range for us to kind of think about.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's realistic. We have a lot of bumps in the road that we've already addressed. You know, the training documentation, like I told Dan, I mean, I can give you guys documentation that will literally enable you to get up and running with no training. And that nobody ever does that, but the documentation is there.
Yes.
But, you know, so it's just different than it was 12 months ago. And also the making of the machine tool files we've had to boot up for the United States, and that's been a challenge that we now have the people in place and the procedures in place, and you're going to get documents that have to be filled out very thoroughly to enable us to do our job in setting up those machine tool files. You also have burn-in on CutRight, which is, that's a 9-hour training course. And you know, and you'll be able to do both. You know, send your nesting and your optimization to one software product, and then we got to set the data up so the data tells it whether it goes to the saw or whether it goes to the nest. I think that's the way we talked about it there.
Yeah.
You guys have
what I consider success is that we can confidently build cabinets and ship cabinets and custom products by the time you walk away after 90 days. That's success to me.
Yeah. And we're talking in terms of 100% of your custom one-offs. You don't have to take it outside of the SQL database. So that's really that's a pretty strong mission. It's there. The software is there. No one tells me the software can't do it.
Okay. Yeah.
The bottom line is that, you know, we have to absorb it. You know, we have to see it once or twice, 3 times sometimes to get it done, but it is exciting. I think the team up there will just go crazy with what they can do. And I know everybody's been frustrated with the product that you're currently using. Everywhere I talk.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Anything else, guys? No.
Oh, I think I'm good.
Okay, Roger, thanks a lot. I think the ball is in our court right now. If we have any questions or comments, we'll get back to you after.
Yeah, I think if some of the guys want to see a few more things from Larry, is it doable to have another hour and a half if necessary?
Can you provide a list of what it is they want to see, and I will make arrangements to maybe we'll make video. If you can tell me, okay, show me how it does this, show me how it does that. If you can be, don't worry about it being too verbose. So and we can either set up another meeting, or I can get video clips made of what it is that you want to see, and just send them up there. By the way, I recorded this meeting too, so.
Oh, okay.
I'll send you a copy of the meeting, or what I'll do is I'll put it up on YouTube and send you an email address if you want it. Do you want a copy of this meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then